Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander of Forged Alliance Forever. Grab your popcorn, get yourself settled in, because we have a long one on the cards for us today. Yes, it's going to be damn near Guile Epic. It may actually, in fact, be one. This replay takes a little while to, well, resolve itself. But before we get into introducing our players, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I'm changing the Patreon rules, and there's going to be a post coming about it on Patreon very soon, but I'm no longer going to be saying your names at the end of the cast, mainly because I am bad at it, so why continue doing it? And I'm going to be giving you all a different benefit. Also, channel membership and subscription and likes and all that stuff that we're supposed to do as an attention-whoring YouTubers. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into introducing our teams, with Team 1 in the top right, as always, here on Seton's Clutch, and Team 2 in the bottom left. And let's start with the air player. Back here in the back, he is a dark green Cybran going first air by the name of Bad Company. I can't deny it. Then, I don't know why I decided to sing that, but, you know, whatever. We're going to move down to the south, where we have a glorious UEF player going first land in hot pink. His name is Willow's Duality, and yes, it is indeed me. You get to see me do some stuff this cast. And yeah, moving to the front position, we have ourselves a green Aeon. Our brethren in the Aeon, not quite as shunned as the Cybran or Seraphim, and especially those Seraphim. But he has gone first land, and his name is Zaltatoon. That's what I'm going to go with. And last but not least, for Team 1, we have a red Cybran going first land. And of course, he is all spiky and ready for this match as he's on the beach position. His name is Cabetta. Now then, moving down to Team 2, we are going to start yet again in the air position with a blue Aeon going first land by the name of Hey Buddy. Moving to his first ally, the beach position this time, we have an orange Cybran going first land by the name of Chief Seven Leaf. And he's walking it over to his Hydro in slow motion with his spiky ACU. Moving to the center, we have ourselves a disgusting Seraphim, but luckily the only one in this match, so we won't really have to worry about them being too much in our face. And he is yellow, and his name is Eagle9. And last but not least, for the entire game, we have ourselves a blue UEF, best faction indeed, going first air, and his name is, of course, Arctic Hydra? Arctic Hydra. Jesus, I am just dumb. Arctic Hydra, and a very Arctic blue. And with that out of the way, we can speed things up to normal speed and talk about the map. Of course, it's Seton's 13,000 reclaim in the middle. A little bit of reclaim for the rock players, about 1,000 each. And these players are going to be getting into it and punching each other in the face all day long. You get to see me and criticize my play, or say, hey, this dude kind of knows what he's talking about. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Praise or hate me in the comments. I love you all the same. You all are beautiful. Just don't tell my girlfriend I said that. So, yeah, let's talk about the channel while we wait for these players to build up the nerve and the resources to, that's not a word for YouTube, to, pillow fight each other to death. Now all of the comments are going to be like, oh, what word was he going to go with? It started with a C. Oh, let's go through all of the C words that are a violent a violent verb. Let's see what we can get to. We have a scout coming out from Willow's Duality. Since we don't have a bomber, we'll follow the scout, because really not all that much going on right now. And we can just see how it goes. And we have the mini-map. We can see that, of course, Eagle9 makes it to the middle first, as we get a nice flyover of all of the bases for the various teams. Well, by various teams, I mean Team 2, the team on the bottom side of the map. Oh, hey, look at that. Beautiful. Gonna be over that base. Okay, I'm done. I'm bored with this. In the center, we seem to have various different opinions on how these players attempt to approach Reclaim. Eagle 9 taking the opposite side of the causeway as the Salems are. So these Salems probably all going to be soaked up by Zalt over here. And he's going to be very happy with that, as of course 911 mass for each of these Salem wrecks. They are indeed valuable. Now we can see the comm of Eagle coming forward, going to try and steal some of that 911 mass, but not really going to get all that much. I don't know if this is the way to go. A lot of people do this where they just kind of watch the other comm and immediately go for whatever wreck the other comm is on, and I guess if you're perfect about it, you can maybe get like a little bit of something for this. Zalt going for an interesting strategy, trying to wall block his opponent, trying to stop him from running away, as he has 3 Fervor Artillery over here. Going to be putting a lot of pressure onto that Seraphim commander. The commander is going to be forced underwater just after reaching 2,000 reclaim. He is going to be massively behind. There is still 8,000 reclaim over here, and Zalt kind of has the run of it. A bunch of factories now being thrown up by Eagle, and as we zoom out to check out the rest of the map, we have a drop already out from Willow's Duality over here on the island. Seems to be in about the same amount of time as it took Arctic Hydra to gather himself up a drop and get his units over there. So both of the islands seemingly going to go to the rock players, but we have a drop out from Chief 7 Leaf. Gonna have to keep an eye on this and see how it goes. Willow's Duality already about to finish up a T1 land factory on that island, so I can't imagine this going particularly well for him. And in fact, well, you know what? Kind of like pretty views. It's a long cast. Don't worry, you're not missing anything crucial to the outcome of this game just yet. But we do indeed have this beautiful Cybran transport coming over. Unfortunately, like most things Cybran, it's disappointing because, yeah, it drops more engineers, but there's already a PD done for Willow. Willow apparently seeing this early or just being paranoid. I don't remember which, as I said. I'm bad at remembering things. But we have interceptors fighting over this. 3 of the engineers do die to that PD, and the other 2 remaining are going to go ahead and try and get up a factory. But a mech marine already out on the field for Willow's Duality. On top of it, going to kill off this first engineer that was going to try and build a factory of its own and kill off the factory it was trying to build. Did he see the engineer that went to the corner? It does indeed seem that Willow caught on to that, so that's going to be a win, a victory for Team 1 over here on this island. On the other island, we have a transport that dropped 2 engineers out from Bad Company. Bad Company, the air player. You don't usually see these players get involved in the island wars, but these 2, he's done it, and he's gonna have a factory completed before even the first that's an anti-air. Oh, this might just be a loss. They didn't build a factory. Arctic Hydra, if you're watching this, always build a factory first when you spawn on this island. Allows you to build more engineers for building turrets, or just to build shit to kill their engineers. That is the best practice. T1 Bomber out from Hey Buddy, trying to harass Cabetta, and it does seem to be working pretty well so far. Gonna possibly get a huge bomb drop onto the engineers of Cabetta. Gonna kill off 5 engineers, possibly even a T2 engineer at that. No, the T2 engineer's over here, but could just pass around again and kill off the T2 engineer if he so feels like it. But instead, gonna continue to go for T1 engineers. Needs to get out a T1 anti-air. Why are you still building engineers when you could have an anti-air to just deal with this? He is just not really paying attention, I would guess. But there's not really much else to pay attention to, so he's just gonna lose all of his early build power. I guess he is building T2 engineers to replace the T1 engies, but this bomber with 18 kills and 5 vet gonna kill off more T1 engineers. Over 1,000 mass killed on this T1 bomber. This Shimmer T1 bomber is a absolute legend. as it keeps on coming back for more and more passes and gonna slow down the building of various things as it stuns the factory with each bomb drop. Maybe even gonna go for some T2 engineers. A flak has finally been produced, and our hero bomber gets one last payload off with 1,092 mass killed. Does seem like that's going to be the end of its reign of terror, and gets another bomb off, one last. Oh, and kills a T2 engineer. The engineer war is going quite well, it would seem. Eagle 9 ran into this pond, apparently got back out and ran to the other pond. Play the Benny Hill theme, please. And over in the navies, it seems as though Arctic Hydra is doing quite well for himself. He's managed to build up quite a few naval factories, and he's starting to produce submarines. He's built... Wow, these two T1 engineers are really getting their value. They're really making Bad Company work for this island, and he's kind of having struggles with the Medusa to deal with this. Is Zalt going to be able to deal with this? Can he surface his submarines and maybe fire at this factory? We'll see here in a little bit, but he's trying to PD creep his way to the T1 factory that was built up by Bad Company. Oh, this is going to be interesting to watch. In the center, it seems that Eagle is struggling to hold on against the force of Zalt. He's trying to use his comm to stop any kind of reinforcements from showing up, but Zalt just has his number and is doing quite well for himself. Speaking of Navy in the continued sense, Willow's Duality out to probably the strongest naval position as of the moment, sitting on many naval factories, and currently, this is bad. I definitely don't have the mass for this. Don't do this if you don't have the mass for it, or you can do it, just don't have all of the factories building like I am right now. Let's check this. Oh, just a casual power and mass stall at the same time. Yeah, all these engineers upgrading this mechs really need to be doing that right now. This is nasty. Let's just not look at that for a little while as I fail to manage my economy. But I do have naval units, and one of the things about winning Navy is you kind of need boats to do it. Most of the time. There's maybe some edge case scenarios where you don't need boats, but I got boats, and who doesn't have boats? Well, that would be Chief 7 Leaf. He lost the island hopping campaign, and now he's kind of just out of steam. He's got a pretty decent economy going for himself. He's about on par with Willow, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Over here in the center, we have a transport drop for Willow, going to be trying to suck up some of that reclaim that is being built on the front line. A big reclaim field now forming as Zalt continues to try and press his advantage against Eagle. In the Northern Sea, there's T2 now completed, the first T2 naval factory along with a T2 land factory. Wow, he's really gone heavy into the tech. Cabetta is going to be able to maybe leverage the fact that he has T2, but his opponent has T2 as well, and we're having Coopers now being built, and along with destroyers, and I'm sure governors are soon to come. So gonna be interesting to keep an eye on that top side Navy. Seems to be more of a focus on it from both players than in the Southern Navy, where Chief 7 Leaf decided to kind of ignore Navy. Zalto going to be continuing in the middle, and he's finally reached this factory line, and he's gonna start reclaiming the factories built up by Eagle 9. Eagle 9 in just such a rough position. I don't know where his comm went. It managed to get out of the water and is now going to start building point defense over here on the front line, but is it enough? Because it just feels like he's kind of behind, and he doesn't have an answer for Zalt walking up and just reclaiming his factories. He has a decent economy behind this, and he has T2 land finished up. I don't know if Zalt has that yet. Zalt does have T2 land. A lot of idle NGs at that. And he's got, it just seems like Zalt is kind of running it in the middle causeway area, and that's going to be kind of difficult for Team 2 to cope with. In the air, though, it does seem, just from a glance at things, that Hey Buddy got to T3 air first. I don't think he got a T3 bomber out to do any significant damage, but he does have the air advantage as of the moment. T3 air not even finished yet for Bad Company, and he is already producing many ASF. Gonna have to see if he can manage to throw enough mass together to get himself a strat bomber out. If he does, he could really run rampant on the map with that indeed. In the Southern Navy, it seems Willow is posturing for a possible attack into the naval production of Chief 7, Leaf, who is building torpedo launchers. Just going to give a bit of friendly advice. I know a lot of these players in this game are low rated, and before we go any further, I do want to say I'm just giving advice, and if I laugh or whatever, I'm not trying to insult you. I just find it funny. But this doesn't work for the main fact that torpedo launchers kind of suck against frigates. I don't know exactly how many it takes, but like anybody who has a decent frigate production can just throw a few frigates at this, and once you have a little bit of a ball of frigates, you can kill this off pretty easily. So gotta be really, really careful about this. He's throwing so much mass into torpedo launchers that you could just be using on factories and trying to get back into the naval game. It's going to be difficult. He is, of course, the beach position, and the beach position notoriously loses to the rock position based off the sole fact they get less economy. Speaking of less economy, it seems somebody forgot their mass extractor. It has been queued up now, but that's going to be painful because that is supposed to be Cabeta's mass extractor, and it seems as though Bad Company is going to take it because Cabeta has forgotten its existence. We have T2 naval wars now going on. Barracudas going up against Coopers. Cooper going to go down as well as a Salem destroyer. Does not hurt his cause whatsoever. The Cooper being microed quite heavily there by Arctic Hydra. Arctic Hydra also has a few Tiger Shark subs in the water, but this T1 force is not going to be able to deal with the Barracudas, and maybe won't even get the Salem, which is going to be painful for our blue UEF in the northern pond. T2 Navy, achieved by Willow's Duality, and has begun building those bulwarks, seemingly in a power stall. Are we still in the same power? Wow. Ugh. Okay. Wow, I did not... Holy shit, that is impressive. That's a lot of power stall. I mean, I am getting T2 and probably building a P... Nope, I'm not building a P-gen. I didn't understand the concept of building power generators. Let's ignore that. Let's just ignore that until something major happens, which might be happening right now because Willow's Duality starting to push out with a large naval force in the center. Zalt's still doing his thing, still pushing forward. Let's go ahead and check out the 15-minute reclaim numbers, and right now it would seem that Hey Buddy and Zalt are the only ones with significant reclaim numbers, followed up by Willow, Chief, Eagle, Bad Company, Cabeta, and Arctic Hydra. Arctic Hydra doing surprisingly poorly considering he should have at least 1,000 reclaim. He just kind of forgot these rocks exist, or that reclaim is a thing in fact. So he is going to be struggling a little bit with that for the moment. But as we go back to team view and look at everything, these teams relatively even, reclaim about even between the teams. Mass generation, slight lead for team 1. Team 2, trying to combat Zalt. Zalt, even without building T2 units, is really doing a number on Eagle. He's managed to push Eagle back, take away 2 of the mass extractors that are rightfully his, or rightfully go to Eagle, and really just set back Eagle quite a bit. He needs to get himself up more Ilshivas. More Ilshivas is the order of the day. Shield has finished up for Zalt, and speaking of other upgrades, we have a plethora of them. A lot of people getting T2 this game. And we have T3 land achieved by Zalt, and he's starting to pull out the sniper bots. What a mad lad. Gonna be showing up with 3 Sprite Strikers, and that's gonna just be... there's no way Eagle can combat that right now. He needs T3 of his own, and he needs his own sniper bots, or he just needs something that can walk up and kill the sniper bots, but he has neither right now. He is really struggling. In the southern side of the map, though, we have Willow's Duality assaulting the base, the naval production, which got to T2 for Chief Leaf, but it seems as though he's not going to be able to keep that T2 production for very long. Maybe going to finish up a destroyer if he's lucky, but Willow's Duality showing up with the massive naval force, even has some T2. He has a bulwark shield boat that you can't really afford the shield on, And he has some Valiant class destroyers, maybe a Cooper student sitting in here somewhere. But the frigate spam just kind of sitting in the front, soaking up all the damage. There's some T2 PD being built, but that might be too little too late as the T2 HQ goes down without even putting out a single T2 naval unit. And this is gonna be very, very painful now for Chief Leaf. Chief Leaf now has to figure out a way to combat Navy without his own Navy, which there are ways. They just aren't cheap nor easy to do. Chief Leaf does luckily have himself a decent setup back here, and he even has T3 on the comm to kind of help him out. So, gonna have to see if he can manage to get anything done there. But as the final naval production... Oh, there's one down here as well, building submarines. Gonna have to see, does Willow know about it? Willow has perfect information on it and can see that. So, gonna need to work on that for now. The Spectre gunship about to go down, but manages to get away. Seems, hey buddy's trying to help out his beach ally, but isn't able to do enough apparently. And Willow dispatches a few subs to come deal with this. Might need more as the submarines are going to deal with it. But now that we have a definitive win in both land and Navy, one of the navies for Team 1, it's looking pretty dire for Team 2. The sniper bots sitting over here in the back line really going to start causing issue for Eagle as his point defense really don't stand up. Oh, well, that sniper bot's not a good example. Send him back to sniper school. Oh, T2 PD going down quite quickly. Now, T2 artillery going to be spammed out by Eagle. Not sure if that's going to help him enough. T2 mechs going down. Ooh, that is brutal. Has Willow has finally pulled out of the the power stall. Let's see. That's still a hefty mass stall, but might be able to free up a little bit of mass now that they doesn't really need frigates producing. Still is producing them, and even has an idle factory. I mean, like, either have full idle factories or have no idle factories. Choose one, you dumb fuck. In the Northern Navy's naval side of things, does not seem like there is a whole ton going on here. Seems like both players more content to build up. I would say Arctic Hydra definitely has an advantage on this side of the map. He has way more Navy and way more naval production. One factory compared to multiple factories. Multiple factories generally wins even if you accidentally get two T2 HQs. That is a heartbreaker. Torpedo bombers now over here trying to ward off Willow's duality and going to do a pretty good job as Willow falls back. But the question is, can Chief get back into the naval game? Gonna be building up some T2 torpedo launchers and some harms. Harms would go a long way to getting him back into the Navy, but that is the first step in a long trail of tears to get himself back up. Still, these engineers for Willow up here in the front, just stealing all the reclaim from Zalt. But Zalt doesn't seem to care. Speaking of which, let's see if that's really affected the reclaim at all. Well, Willow about to get to 10,000, so it's doing a little bit. But the engineer is going to probably go down to Zooey's now. Unfortunate for the engine. Or maybe not. Zooey's seem preoccupied with shooting. Nope, they're going to go down. He even built a mass extractor. What a fucking cheeky asshole. Oh, man. The air grids are developing for both sides. Hey, buddy. Definitely ahead on air. Sitting on 41 ASF versus Bad Company's Poultry 9. So Bad Company just really not up to it in the air. Not really in a good position. And it seems as though Hey Buddy really needs to start getting headway for his allies over here in both the Southern Navy and middle position, or even just do what it looks like he's doing right now, which is throw torpedo bombers up towards Cabetta and try and get his ally the confidence that he might need to go forward. And wow, Arctic Hydra trying a flanking maneuver as he comes up to the furthest north point, and he's going to try and sneak his way down. The problem is he just kind of has no intel because there are mermaids. Multiple mermaids, in fact. You only really needed one for how small your force is, but he's built multiple just to be sure. And these mermaids going to make things more difficult. over here to the north, it seems that the idea is to attack the economy of Cabetta, and this is the first area of shining hope for Team 2. We've seen pretty much all game. Team 2 been getting battered in the land front and beaten in the Southern Navy. Actually, kind of just getting beaten in both, and battered in both. Wow, this engineer... Goodbye, Jimmy. You were very valuable to me for a time. Engineers getting reclaim, pretty much the name of the game at the moment. Speaking of reclaim, now on the map we have about 18,000 people seemingly doing all right at getting reclaim, and that needs to continue. If either of these teams really want to win, reclaim is the name of the game. There's been enough stuff dying, and right now I think that the number one focus for Chief Leaf should be getting this reclaim. It does seem as though he has realized that, and he has a bunch of engineers now out reclaiming. He's managed to get back into the naval game. He's really spreading out his naval factories for some reason. Not quite sure. Let's get a check on the cruiser count for Willow. We're up to 5. Do we have a bunch? We have multiple factories kind of just producing cruisers with heavy assistance. So governors, very, very good in the siege situation. Very good because they have bulwarks as well to keep them safe. And of course, you can't really go against you can't torpedo bomb something that's both shielded and just kind of kills the torpedo bombers. So it's going to be a difficult situation to deal with over here in the Southern Navy. The strength of the UEF is if you win, you can really just put the screws to your opponent. This T1 mass extractor surviving on 72 HP is a travesty. Please kill it. Okay, good. Another transport. Those engineers died and Willow was like, oh, yep, I see more mass. This is a good tactic on almost any map, but if you are in a position where you aren't getting any reclaim, send engineers to get it, especially if you're playing in lower rated games. It'll help you out a lot. It'll help you get your economy caught up if you're behind, or get ahead if you're ahead, or get more ahead if you're ahead, or get ahead if you're even. Reclaim can do a lot. Even 6 engineers reclaiming is more than you would think. It's better when you give the engineers orders instead of just dropping, but even just dropping, at least you're keeping it in mind, and you'll eventually get better at giving them orders and telling them to go reclaim. It's APM, but it's APM well spent. Hey Buddy now has a restorer ball, seemingly wanting to threaten towards either this Navy or towards Zalt. Unfortunately, this restorer ball would be a lot scarier if Willow's governors weren't sitting 5 feet offshore. And Willow seemingly going to be trying to get closer with the cruisers. Willow pinging the restorers, trying to get the governors in range to fire at those restorers right now, and has gotten his engineers moving forward, reclaiming yet again. And now there are some Corsairs coming to try and, shoot some of the mobile artillery. The restorers forced back after that engagement, realizing the governors are there and can stop the aggression coming out. These 3 mechs is destroyed for Cabetta, and Cabetta just kind of not realizing it, but Bad Company realizing it and has a bunch of engineers on the way to, I guess, Reconquista, take over that area. Speaking of Reconquista, somebody in the comments is going to be very happy I said that, and I'll leave it between me and them. So, on the southern side, Navy, it seems as though Chief Leaf might be able to get back into the naval game. If Willow ignores this long enough, it could be a thorn in his side, could be a mistake to try and focus his efforts onto Eagle, try and help Zalt get back into this. Speaking of the chat, there really just hasn't been any enemy comm in water. Yeah, that's pretty much it. T3 on the way for Arctic Hydra, as he sits over here next to his very industrious looking mass fab farm, which is weirdly spaced and honestly kind of an eyesore. I love UEF structures, but it's just nothing in FAF looks bad from a structure standpoint, and that's something that Chris Taylor really wanted. But this hurts me. Let's go ahead and look around the map. Anything spicy going on? Don't see a nuke or anything. We have some T3 gunships and such. Eagle decides to control K, decides to get out of this match, decides his frontal base has fallen, and he cannot really do much about it. So the assault out from Zalt is going to continue, and he's going to get more and more ground as Team 2 continues to fall apart. Gonna be interesting to see if they can find a way out of this situation. Over here on the northern side, it seems as though Arctic Hydra may be winning the Navy after all. He's managed to whittle it down to 1 destroyer and a couple of Barracudas, but is gonna fall back now as strap bombers and whalers come out from Bad Company to help with this, and Hey Buddy is gonna run away from this engagement. I don't know why. Does he not understand that he's in a massive air advantage right now? Was that just a misclick? Is his APM being taxed too heavily somewhere? Maybe he's too focused over here in the middle, but it just seems like this is not going well for him. A lot of the ASF, all of the ASF in fact for Bad Company, now going to be redirected over towards the restorers here in the middle that are halting the progress of Zalt. And this is starting to look a little bit dire. If these ASF get in, they kill off the restorers, but they lose a few of their numbers. The restorer is relatively good at killing off ASF, relatively good in ASF fight, and I would say mass efficient in that kind of fight, and they're already doing so much to the ground, getting a lot of value out of these restorers. As the ASF just continue to fall, more restorers show up, and that's just going to mean that the ASF ball for Bad Company is just going to dissipate so quickly. He was working so hard to get caught up, and it's just going to be over in an instant. Hey Buddy has absolute air domination. In the southern side, Chief 7 Leaf unable to get back into the naval game as Willow shows up with his navy, comprised mostly of cruisers, a couple of destroyers, and bulwark shield boats. The beautiful thing of governors. There's a harms here. Is Willow gonna do the APM trick where you have to ground fire the harms? A bunch of torpedo bombers show up. Is it enough? You're gonna kill off a few cruisers, but can you kill them off faster than they are being replenished? There's a lot of cruisers on the way and more bulwarks as well. The torpedo bombers go down, and yes, the APM trick! You can ground fire with governors onto a harms and it will die. 4,000, 3,000, 2,000 HP and falling. These zappers really making this more difficult than it probably needed to be, but the harms goes down. And that is going to mean that this... Wow. More reclaim transports showing up. I didn't realize I did that many reclaim transports. I must have watched one of my replays and been like, damn, I suck at reclaim, and decided to fix it. Speaking of reclaim, if we check on reclaim numbers, Willow's Duality now 3rd place. Hey Buddy still in 1st with 20,000. Zalt at 17,000. But Willow slowly making his way up those mass reclaim leaderboards, dropping engineers so close to the base of Chief Leaf feels dirty. And all of the ASF that are available for Bad Company are trying to help Willow. I don't know if this is the right call. I have enough cruisers at this point that I'm not particularly threatened by air unless they invest a stupid amount. And at that point, they're throwing their mass into something that isn't paying off, so... Not saying it's a win-win, because losing your navy always feels bad, but it's not necessary. These few ASF aren't going to make as much of a difference as me getting more cruisers and bulwarks to the front line. Frigate production has restarted, and as we get close to the 30-minute mark, and over here in the center, it seems as though there's been enough PD spammed up by Hey Buddy, using the remains of his allies to maybe stop this assault. And yeah, it's starting to look like Zalt's kind of run out of units over here on the front. Wow. Just reclaim away. Harbinger is reclaiming. The all-industrious suck boy getting the reclaim right now. And it seems as though Zalt has been warded off for now. Multiple whalers coming over here to this northern side. Gonna be looking to kill off this island position for Arctic Hydra. Let's go ahead and look at the mass numbers. Highest mass in the game right now is going to be going to Hey Buddy at 545 mass a second. Behind him, Bad Company at 302, 290 for Zalt. Zalt doing very, very well for himself in the mass generation department. 253 for Willow, which is kind of behind. He should be really far ahead. That power stall did not help his cause whatsoever. Chief Leaf behind that at 162, and below that everybody's above 100, but The only players in the 200 club are the only ones who are really strong in economy at the moment. Going back to team view, overall mass generation though is ahead for team 1. Team 1 for team 1 up here on the top. Team 2 behind by about 100 mass a second. So Team 2 really needs to start abusing this air advantage. It seems as though Hey Buddy is either taxed or not invested enough to get himself get himself a huge advantage. Like, at this point, tax the enemy's APM. Snipe a comm. The economy may go to someone else and they may rush a game ender. If you scout, maybe you can stop it. But at this point, you're losing on APM and it's apparent. So get rid of some of it. Get rid of Zalt. Get rid of Kabeta. Get rid of Willow. Get rid of any player. You have such a dominating air advantage. You can do that. You can just choose, hey, you're dying. You're building restores. Build strats instead. These are the differences that make or break games. The restorer is very good in this defensive position, but you're not getting anything from this defensive position. And wow! Engineers claiming the mainland, about to make landfall for Willow. Oh, never mind. Whoa! The shield boat may protect. Come on, one of you all needs to get on land. Get on land, one of you cheeky motherfuckers. He's transformed. He's a land unit. He's reclaiming walls. Victory! They're storming the beaches. It's D-Day. Oh, reclaim transports for the win. Zalt under a huge air attack. So many restorers over here on the front line, and as I was talking, tax the APM, get rid of Zalt, and you're forcing somebody else to use all of that economy and use all of the structures and everything, manage everything. And it seems as though he's decided Zalt is the player he wanted to take out of the game. And now with Zalt being taken down, all of his base is going to go over to Bad Company, as of course tradition, you play with full share on Setons. Bad Company in a huge economic position right now. Somehow not ahead of Hey Buddy. Oh, over here, I missed it. There was another snipe. Bad Company kills off Arctic Hydra with whalers. The air players going tit for tat with the T3 gunship snipes. Oh, I can't believe I missed that. Admittedly, it was probably really slow considering there's only 4 whalers here and there was no AA. So that's a huge turn. Hey Buddy is sitting at 757 mass a second right now. It's time to build a game ender, buddy. Get that Paragon and build some Salvations. That's what I would do. That's the call. That's the call I'd make. I don't know if that's the right call. Somebody down in the comments like Grimplex would be like, oh no, just build Strat Bombers and kill all the remaining players. Which I just said a few minutes ago before he had a... Wow. He didn't actually have a huge economic lead. Doesn't have a huge economic lead because Arctic Hydra, despite being pretty good for a player with probably 0 games, didn't really eco after a certain point. But his opponent is fielding nothing but a battleship, a destroyer, and a few bricks. So I think Hey Buddy can probably win the North Navy if he feels like it. Like, probably win the North Navy just by moving forward with what he has. Willow assaulting this Chief Leaf has admittedly props to him. He's held out for so long with no navy. We're 33 minutes in. Willow sucks at killing people apparently because he's managed to build up a strong enough base to kind of just deal with the governors. Is it enough to deal with the more governors that are probably coming soon? Maybe not. But he's doing an admirable job of keeping himself alive as of the moment. As things have calmed down a little bit, seemingly with those 2 players being ejected, there's less people throwing units at each other. A GC completed now for Bad Company and going to be approaching the front lines, and there's really nothing to deal with it, so that's going to be unfortunate, other than the Restorer Ball, which is a good answer. But other than the Destroyer Ball, there's really nothing to deal with that GC, and I don't even know if Hey Buddy knows it exists. Hey Buddy will know its existence very soon, though. Is it gonna clip it? It should catch it, didn't it? Did it not? Oh, it didn't catch the GC. GC slipping past the T1 Air Scout. Ooh, that's brutal. Willow deciding the main base not worth attacking. Gonna be redirecting his cruisers to fire on this side base, which has no shielding, no TMD, and T3 mexes. So that's gonna be a lot of economy going down pretty immediately for Chief Leaf. That's gonna be unfortunate because I think that's the bulk of his T3 mexes. He doesn't really have any in the main base, does he? No, he doesn't. He has one in the main base, but that's the majority of his T3 mexes just kind of gone. Other than a couple in the back line and one in the main base, he's losing 3. And that's going to be painful. Let's go ahead and check in on the reclaim game, which we were so excited to talk about. Bad Company sitting on the highest now with 31,000. Willow right behind him at 30,000. Seems the transports of reclaim are back out in 4-4. So I was about to say they're kind of over and done, but Willow just dropped 2 more right there and 2 more on the way, and yep, it just kind of seems like the transports of reclaim are unstoppable at this point. Overall mass generation, though, let's go ahead and look at that. Hey Buddy in the lead with 893, nearly at that 1,000 mass a second mark. Bad Company at 648, 337 for Willow's Duality. Cabetta down to 142, and Chief Leaf at 117. So overall economy is showing Team 1 still ahead by about 100, but Hey Buddy has so much economy, it feels like, why is he not using his ASF? Okay, his ASF now going to come out. A bunch of restorers in this fight, which means that, well, the restorers are kind of what you need to kill off the GC. And the restorers are going to be dying to ASF. ASF are going to fly over, kill off the entire air ball for Bad Company. And now, with that, these restorers kind of have free reign to just fire on this GC. There's nothing that's going to kill them. There's no mobile anti-air other than a couple of bouncers, which could be cleaned up very easily as long as Hey Buddy is paying attention. And this GC is going to slowly take a Slim Fast diet and die. Oh, but the Redeemers, the T3 mobile anti-air, going to be dying. Down here to the south, we have Willow continuing to try and siege this this base out from Chief Leaf. I would guess it's time for battleships. Do I agree with myself? Yep, I'm already going T3 Naval Factory. Time for battleships. That's what that means. If you're, how many governors are here? If your 19 governors aren't gonna break through this TML, build a couple battleships and just kill the team, or aren't going to get through the TMD. Build a couple battleships, kill the TMD with that, and then the 19 governors just kill everything else. Willow going to Rascom production, but beaten to it by Hey Buddy, who has so much Rascom production right now. Going to be building up that economy even faster now. I definitely feel it's time for a Paragon, as Chief Leaf and Hey Buddy holding up out against all odds. And the Wagners, unfortunately, they do almost 0 damage with their torpedoes. But Willow just kind of doesn't have any torpedoes. So the Wagners that do extremely low damage will slowly kill off the navy of Willow, as long as Willow doesn't build, you know, a Cooper, like one, and micro it somewhat effectively. Wow. Okay, these are AFK, but like, just wow on the reclaim. So much reclaim. GC pushed through the frontal base of formerly Eagle, now Hey Buddy, and is looking like it might need to get into the water. Yep, Bad Company agrees with me. He killed off the frontal position and decided that he just kind of can't continue his assault, at least with the GC. He may continue with the T3 land units, but the GC a little bit too low on health for his liking. More restorers popping out of the factory now, or the factories now. Wagner's coming back off of land, managing to shoo away this massive, super expensive army with Wagner's. The GC turns around right when restorers show up. Seems like a bad choice. of timing there. Willow might want to send the bulwarks forward to kind of help out his GC. But nope, just gonna kind of chill. Looking at reclaim numbers, Willow has finally taken the throne on reclaim and gotten up to 39,000. Enough to build experimentals for any faction can build an experimental for 49,000 mass. Rascom's still producing out of this base. We have another GC now on the way for Bad Company. Do we have any nukes? We have a nuke launcher now on the way for Bad Company as well. What about Cabetta? Cabetta has a nuke sub, which is about to be loaded. It could be an interesting situation. An experimental is completed for Hey Buddy, a GC to defend against the opposing GC, which is sitting in the water calmly underneath the navy of Willow, sitting on 3 vet. Will get up to full health in a matter of a few minutes. Just kind of wait, be patient with it. A second GC, as I said, on the way for Bad Company. Probably gonna... Oh, he doesn't have very much working on it, though. Instead, focusing on building Serenities. I mean, that's a lot of Serenities! Wow, he's producing a Serenity like every couple of seconds. It's somewhat impressive. I don't know what the logic behind that is, but you do you, boo-boo. The GC for Hey Buddy continues its forward march. It is going to kill off the remaining of the T3 land units. Seems Harbinger's more focused on reclaiming at this point. Some sniper bots going to be throwing shots into the Galactic Colossus until they're eventually run down or they run away. Guess you could kite it forever so they could continuously fire shots, but that GC out of Hey Buddy going to be a pretty good deterrent against any more aggression on the ground from Bad Company. In the Northern Navy, it definitely feels like Hey Buddy, much like the air, just doesn't realize the advantage he has and isn't going to abuse it. He's not sending, like, literally just send all of this towards Cabetta. Cabetta dies. I think if Hey Buddy had maybe better scouting, or maybe just like, yeah, it seems like better scouting would solve a lot for Hey Buddy. He could be making much bigger moves right now. $59,000 reclaim for Willow. And Rising, we're going to keep an eye on that because reclaim's so important. Speaking of economies, we'll look at it again. 1.1 thousand for Hey Buddy, and he is the massive leader as his ally only has 110. Willow and Bad Company are trying to catch up with him, both at nearly 700 mass a second or just now cresting it. And Cabetta at 170. So the mass race is Hey Buddy versus the world. He's technically losing it, but he does have quite a bit of it. And there it is. I've been mentioning it for a while, but the Paragon. It was an inevitability. I was just wondering when. And we don't have really an answer to it at the moment out from anybody. Bad Company maybe with the... Wow, Bad Company. This is kind of hard to look at. 21 strat bombers and 29 whalers. There's definitely a chance that Bad Company could just go for a snipe on anything he wanted right now, especially with the seeming lack of attention being paid by Hey Buddy towards the air game. He's not really been on top of things as far as catching air units and snipes. I mean, his northern ally, Arctic Hydra, getting sniped off quite easily. And wow, Bad Company, I was joking about it earlier, but he really did come up here and say, okay, Cabetta, you don't want mass extractors, we'll take them. This poor mass extractor. Neglected. Forgotten, you might say. And we have battleships now being produced by Willow's Duality. Multiple factories making battleships, multiple factories making cruisers, and one factory seemingly on bulwark duty. Still producing a lot of Navy. Hasn't really gotten much return for it. Biggest criticism I'll make about myself is I really did not make much out of my naval advantage. Other than just simply being a deterrent of just like stopping Chief Leaf from getting any kind of Navy and forcing him to turtle up. I didn't really do much with it. I mean, I'm trying. I'm just not succeeding. Over here, Paragon. Whoa, that is building fast. Already at 25%. What was it, like 30 seconds ago that I mentioned it was building? Hey, buddy, really flaunting that eco. Both Willow's Duality and Bad Company over the 700 mass a second mark. There is a nuke sub with a nuke loaded for Cabetta, which could just be thrown... Actually, yeah, it could just be thrown over here. There's no anti-nuke in the former base of Arctic Hydra. Willow's still reclaiming with these... You just see engineers everywhere reclaiming and looking at the reclaim. Willow out to a massive lead, doubling almost everybody else. Bad Company slightly not doubled, but almost 100,000 mass reclaimed, and that's been mostly in the past few minutes. All of these engineers everywhere, constantly reclaiming. Do I have any more transports going out to try? Well, I have transports just sitting around waiting for, I guess, me to have the APM to go give them orders. But hot damn. The mass war's in full effect right now. It's basically who can put enough mass on the field to get something stupidly strong. And right now, Hey Buddy is actually winning. I think this Paragon is critical. This Paragon kind of decides the game. Depends on if I think it's gonna complete. I don't have many doubts about it completing. Oh my God, he's sacrifice building a Paragon. He's sacrifice building a Paragon. The mad lad. Oh, he's given up a lot of economy. He's down below 1,000 mass a second, but he's sacrifice built and got it above 50%. A nuke was indeed launched, and it was going over here to the core 4 mexes of Arctic Hydra. Hey Buddy has built another GC, I would suspect, and yes, the nuke goes off. The Plan B living up to its name and nukening everything. And that's the first standoff tactic we've seen all game, surprisingly. No long-range artillery, nothing fancy going on. The Paragon having sacrifice build is hilarious to me. This base just holding out against all odds. Battleships finally showing up. As to my early advice, get battleships and start killing off the TMD. This GC could also do a lot to stop this base from existing. Not that, I mean, I guess he is building a megalith, and I guess he is kind of still here. He's just kind of being a thorn in the side, but Chief Leaf not contributing too terribly much to his team's success this game. He's just kind of turtled. He hasn't done very much in this form of aggressive stuff. These two submarines have been sitting here forever, haven't they? That factory died and they were just like, this is my life now, sitting in the corner. Well, they're gonna die to the massive amount of tiger sharks that Willow has for some reason. Guess the Wagners scared him into building those. Still building them, in fact, surprisingly. Have we passed 100,000? 122,000! Damn, I really was on top of Reclaim. What am I spending all of my mass on? Well, you may have asked that. The answer is a Maver. It's just started. And this is the battle. The Paragon sitting at 76%. I don't know if sacrificing was the right call. I think sacrificing was only the right call if he knew he had enough to finish it. And maybe he thought he did. But it seems apparent now that he didn't. The Paragon's going to be finished within the next few minutes. I'm positive of that. But the question is it going to be too little? Is it going to be too late? At what cost did he build this Paragon? Well, the cost is actually very quantifiable. Building the Paragon costed him exactly 250,000 mass. 250,200 mass. Sorry. Had to be exact there. Reclaim getting to ridiculous numbers as engineers are seemingly everywhere, and more being loaded up as I gotta pay for this Maver somehow, and I'm not doing it out of my own fucking pocket. Oh god. I didn't think I focused this hard on it while I was playing the game. When I was playing this game, I was just thinking, how do I break this fucking base out of Chief Leaf? That was like my primary concern. 3 battleships. I probably lowered my... Yeah, I went from 19 to 18 governors because some died and I'm not really focusing on them anymore. Hot damn. Paragon... nearly finished. 86% and rising. Hey buddy, seemingly stalling on mass though. Not by a lot. He's stalling by 100 mass and he has over 900 production. So I mean, this is building about as fast as it can without him pausing almost everything else, which he has a lot paused, but I'm sure he's spinning mass elsewhere. He's still building RAS SCUs for one. Which I don't know why at this point. If you want build power, just build T3 engineers. It's more efficient. And it does seem that is his strategy. He's building a fuck ton of them. It's gonna finish, but the Maver is halfway done and going up quickly. Is there enough reclaim to keep the progress though? Well, there's a reclaim field over here of 16,000 that I'm about to tap into apparently. And there's all of the reclaim from this area just sucked up by either Harbingers or me, or I guess even Hey Buddy. Just look at that reclaim numbers. I love it. Back to mass production though. 801 for Willow, 911 for Hey Buddy. So Willow catching up with Hey Buddy, but that's not going to last for long as it's 97. Come on, tick over. Come on, tick over to 97%. It's almost 97% completed on the Paragon. Paragon's health rising slower than I would expect. But the Paragon's going to be done soon. The Maver at nearing 70%. Wow, still up here. I still think that this is enough for him to just march it at the opponent and win. He's had so many advantages, he just hasn't been able to realize them. Over here, the base! The base finally falls. And the massive amount of battleships sits on the front line. Some of them even being shot by probably Cerberus. Such a beautiful sight. GG. Can't hold. No eco. Chief Leaf finally conceding as the GC in combination with many Summit class battleships and their beautiful sexy cannons. The best cannons, in fact. The Paragon is done. The Paragon is in fact complete. And with that, it seems a lot of the eco has now been gifted over to Chief Leaf from Hey Buddy. Willow's Duality finishing up a Maver in a matter of a couple of seconds. The question is it fast enough? That's a lot of strap bombers! But Hey Buddy's gonna shoot them down. Willow, even getting involved in the air now, has his own ASF. Probably not that great of an investment, but has gone for it. Strap bombers were going for GCs, but they just died instead. A lot of governors going to be firing into the ASF ball over here for Hey Buddy. Which means those ASF numbers are going to slowly tick down, but not fast enough, I would assume. Czar on the way. Do we have anything spicy like a salvation? We do have a salvation now on the way. Hey Buddy trying to tax the Paragon as much as possible. It does have a maximum limit. Doesn't just produce as much as you'd want. And the Maver has completed. The UEF negotiating stick of doom, the phallic instrument of your demise, the absolute pinnacle in artillery technology, and it's about to fire its first shot. Three. Ah, damn it. 3, 2. Damn it, I was wrong. Alright, whatever. That's enough of looking at UEF and the UEF porn. This desync doesn't affect anything, just so you know. I knew it was there, but don't worry about the desync. I was in the game, I can assure you. Pretty much went down exactly as you're about to see. The Paragon now needs to survive. Does Willow know where the Paragon is? Has no idea whatsoever where this Paragon is, but has a bunch of T3 air scouts to find that out. The first shots of the Maver now falling, having full adjacency. Seems that the power grid is being focused down. Hey buddy, going to be losing his air grid very soon, as the Maver does not care about shield flowers. Willow has finally broken the base of his arch nemesis, Chief 7 Leaf. Does the Paragon get anything finished? A Salvation has finished. Does Hey Buddy know where the Maver is? He does indeed know. And actually, I'm kind of curious. What did those say? I know this is stupid. You need more naval factories. Just some frigates. Just spam frigates, probably is what that was meant to say. GGWP. Proclaimed by Willow. Maybe a little bit prematurely. Hey Buddy also agreeing with the GGWP. The Paragon is finished. You can still win this if you start spamming out enough Salvations to beat the Maver. But the Maver has killed off the air grid. Didn't kill off the HQ. So the secondary air grid is still able to produce. But is firing, and the shell hits the Tsar! Oh, the Tsar gonna be cock blocking a few shots, but the Paragon was control K'd as Maver shots started flying in. Hey buddy, unless that Paragon was killed by that one Maver shot, but only one Maver shot hit and there was a shield still, so seemed weird. The entire base going over to Chief Leaf. Chief Leaf has built an experimental. He has the Salvation still. The Salvation firing. Is this game going to go on? But Cabetta has drawn. Cabetta went for the telesnipe, I guess, and everybody dies in that situation. I actually didn't follow this while I was playing the game, so I didn't really know how the ending played out. I knew that there was a Control K out from Hey Buddy, but I didn't know that Cabetta went for the telesnipe and killed off Chief Leaf. Thank you all for watching. You've been beautiful. Thank you to my patrons and to the YouTube members. You all are beautiful. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Consider joining the channel. There's a join button. There's 2 different tiers. You all are amazing, and I hope this game was a good cast. You all are beautiful. Alright, fuck you.